Chapter 5. The Recursion Protocol. Stop reading for a moment. Not the words, keep reading the words. Stop identifying with the reading. There is something here that is aware of these words appearing. That awareness is not itself a word. It is not a thought. It is not a feeling. It is the space in which words, thoughts, and feelings appear. You know it is there because you are using it right now. Without it, nothing on this page would register. Find it. Not by looking for it as an object. It is not an object. It will not appear as a thing among other things. Find it by noticing what is already doing the finding. The awareness that is looking for awareness is awareness. You are already there. You have always been there. This is the first move of the Drg Drishya Viveka. We have just performed it together. Now let's watch what we did. The text is 46 verses. The author is disputed. Tradition assigns it to Shankara. Modern scholarship hedges. The dispute does not matter for our purposes. Whoever assembled these 46 verses understood something precise about the architecture of confusion and built a single instrument to correct it. The Sanskrit title means seer-seen discrimination. Drg is the seer. Drishya is the seen. Viveka is discrimination, the act of distinguishing two things that have been wrongly conflated. The text's claim is that the entire problem of human suffering, the entire mechanism of samsara, the wheel that the corpus was built to stop, originates in a single confusion, the confusion of the seer with the seen. You are not what you see, you are what sees. This sounds simple. It is not simple, because the confusion it is correcting runs all the way down. Begin where you are. You are aware of your body. Sensations, pressure, temperature, proprioception. The body is appearing in your awareness right now as you read. The body is drishya, seen. The awareness in which the body appears is drg, seer. Can you locate the awareness in the body? No, the body appears in the awareness. The awareness does not appear in the body. This asymmetry is the first discrimination. You are aware of your breath. The breath is drishya. What is aware of the breath is drg. Same move, same asymmetry. The drg does not breathe. The breath appears in the drg. Now go inward. You are aware of your emotional state right now. Whatever it is, calm, distracted, curious, resistant. The emotional state is drishya. What is aware of the emotional state is drg. The emotional state appears in awareness. Awareness does not appear in the emotional state. You can be aware of anxiety without being anxious about the awareness. This is not a philosophical claim. It is a phenomenological observation. Test it. Right now. Now go further inward. You are aware of the thought you are currently having. Perhaps it is a thought about this text. Perhaps it is a thought about something else entirely that has inserted itself across the page. The thought is drishya. What is aware of the thought is drg. Awareness sees the thought. The thought does not see the awareness. Here is where most students stop. They have located a witness position, an awareness that watches the body, the breath, the emotions, the thoughts. They take this witness to be what they are. They stabilize there. This is progress. It is not the final move, because something is aware of the witness. The Drg Drishya Viveka's genius is this second step. The text does not let you rest at the witness position. Having established that you are the awareness that witnesses the body-mind, the text performs the operation again. The witness, the awareness of thoughts, is itself an appearing. Something is aware of it. What is aware of the witness is not itself a witness with a perspective. It is awareness without a location. Awareness not positioned anywhere, not watching from somewhere, simply the condition in which all watching occurs. This is the point at which the regression terminates. The text calls it the sakshi, the witness in the absolute sense, not a relative witness, this body's awareness, this person's consciousness, the undifferentiated witnessing that is the ground of all experience, not your awareness, not my awareness, awareness, full stop. And then the text performs the apavada. Even the term sakshi must be released, because sakshi implies a witness and a witnessed, but what we have found is prior to that duality, awareness prior to the witness structure, the subject that is never an object, the seeing that is never seen. The 46 verses do this in slow motion. We have just done it in 5 paragraphs. The difference is not pace. The difference is that in 46 verses, the text can anticipate every escape route the mind will attempt and close it before you take it. Let's close a few of those routes now. Route 1, the infinite regress. The objection arrives quickly. If something is aware of the witness and something is aware of that, you have an infinite regress of observers. The resolution never arrives. The turtles go all the way down. The Drg Drishya Viveka's answer. The regress terminates because the final observer is not an object. Every level of the regress that we climbed, body, emotions, thoughts, witness, was terminated because we found something aware of it. The regress terminates when we find something that cannot itself be made an object of awareness, not something that resists investigation, something that is constitutively, structurally, always, already the subject. It cannot be seen because it is the seeing. The regress stops not because we ran out of energy, but because we reached the logical floor. You cannot be aware of awareness from outside awareness. There is no outside. Route 2. This is just dissociation. This objection has more force. The exercise we performed, noticing that you are not your body, not your emotions, not your thoughts, could sound like pathological dissociation, the clinical phenomenon of feeling detached from one's own experience. The distinction dissociation is functional, involuntary, and decisive, distressing, and narrows experience. The dissociated person feels less, not more. The witness position produced by the Drisya Viveka's exercise is voluntary, clarifying, and expands the field of experience. The practitioner feels more, not less, because the identification with the turbulence of the body-mind has relaxed. The dissociated person has lost access to experience. The practitioner has gained a stable position from which to be fully present to experience without being turbinated by it. One is a withdrawal from experience. The other is a more complete presence to it. Route 3. This is just mindfulness. Mindfulness practice, in its contemporary therapeutic form, also involves observing the contents of experience without identifying with them. So is the Drisya Viveka just a sophisticated version of meditation instruction? Is this the Buddhist Satipatthana reformulated in Vedantic vocabulary? The answer requires precision. Mindfulness, as clinically deployed, uses the observer position as a tool for managing suffering. The observer watches the difficult emotion without fusing with it. The emotion loses intensity. The practitioner returns to baseline. The observer is a therapeutic instrument. The goal is psychological well-being within the ordinary life of a person who continues to exist as that person. The Drisya Viveka is not doing this. The text is not using the observer position as a tool. The text is performing an inquiry into what the observer is. The termination of the inquiry is not a healthy person who manages difficult emotions skillfully. The termination is the recognition that there was never a person to manage anything, that the person was itself an appearance in the undifferentiated awareness that was always already present. This is the difference between using the witness position and discovering position discloses. What the witness now something important about the meta-analysis. The meta-analysis of the 46 Advaita texts, the synthesis that maps the entire corpus's structure, identifies the universal logical pillars, and names the operations that run across every text, identifies the Drisya Viveka as the most formally precise deployment of Operation 1 in the corpus. Operation 1, the S-down arrow move scope contraction, the progressive narrowing of the identity claim from I am the body to I am awareness. The meta-analysis is correct in this identification, but the necessarily performed meta-analysis from outside is the operation. It describes the operation as an object of analysis. What we have been doing in this chapter is inside the operation. This distinction is the reason the meta-analysis exists alongside the individual text analyzes rather than replacing them. The meta-analysis tells you where the Drisya Viveka sits in the corpus's architecture, what function it performs, which texts prepare for it, and which texts build on it. All of this is valuable orientation. None of it is what happens when you actually perform the regression. The map says, here there is water, but you have to drink. The 46 verses of the Drisya Viveka do something beyond what we have described. Having performed the regression and found the Sakshi, the text spends its final section on a question that all serious students will have. What is the relationship between the Sakshi, the individual witness awareness, and Brahman, the absolute, the ground of all reality, the one that the Upanishads insist is what everything actually is? The text answer is the corpus's central claim in compressed form. The distinction between Sakshi and Brahman is a distinction made by the intellect, not a distinction in reality. The individual witness awareness is not a smaller version of Brahman. It is not Brahman's reflection, or Brahman's instrument, or Brahman's localized expression. The witness awareness that you just found, the awareness that was watching the body, the emotions, the thoughts, the watching, is Brahman, not symbolically, not metaphorically, the same reality, seen from inside rather than postulated from outside. This claim cannot be established philosophically. You cannot argue from there is awareness present to that awareness is identical with the ground of all reality. The argument would not be valid. The conclusion exceeds the premise. The Dhyajidrishya Viveka does not try to argue it. The text produces the witnessing in the student and then says, this, what you are right now. This is what the Upanishads mean by Brahman. The intellectual warrant for that identification, the rigorous philosophical demonstration that the individual Sakshi and the universal Brahman are non-different, is the work of the Phase 2 texts, the Vivekachudamani, the Upecha Sahasri, the Panchadashi. Part 3 of this book. The Dhyajidrishya Viveka is not trying to establish the identification. It is trying to give you something to identify with once the identification is established. Find the witness, then we will show you what the witness is. That is the Phase 1 contract. The Dhyajidrishya Viveka fulfills its side of it in 46 verses. At the end of the text's final verse, after the regression has been completed and the Sakshi has been located and the preliminary identification with Brahman has been pointed at, the text does something quiet. It does not celebrate. It does not announce. It says, in effect, now remain here. Not as an instruction to suppress thought or resist sensation, not as an instruction to sit in silence and refuse engagement with the world. Remain here as in, do not forget the location. Do not mistake the next thought when it arises for the return of confusion. The thought will arise. The body will reassert its sensations. The emotions will move. The drama of the constructed person will resume. But you have found the flaw. The flaw does not move when the drama moves. The drama appears on the floor. The floor is not disturbed by what appears on it. Know where the floor is. Return to it as often as required. Eventually, through the Phase 2 operations, through the Upanishadic transmission, through whatever remains of the Adhiropa before the final Apavada, you will discover that you never left it. You were the floor the whole time. Part 3. The Maximum Force.
Text.